name's Dee and welcome to Sunchild Tarot. Now this is a general reading for your star sign, for Sun, Moon or Rising. As it's detailed in the title, it's a bulk introduction for all 12. So as ever, there will be a time signature down below, so you can skip ahead to the reading because you really want to watch 3 of them if you can. Sun sign, obviously. And moon sign is highly relevant, especially with this being a lunar eclipse. And your rising sign was the most important sign in ancient astrology, so that's one to go for as well. If you're not familiar with what your moon and rising sign is, there is a link in the chart below. I'm not going to spend too much on the astrology of this lunar eclipse, apart from it's 2020. It's big, because of course it is. It's 2020. And I've also done a video with astrologer David Fisher, which you should find a link to that down below as well. As for other housekeeping about links down below, there's also a link to the Facebook page for this channel where you can contact me directly if you're wanting me for a personal reading. Plus I post all of these videos and I post all the astrology videos that I'm watching, the weather report style readings. So general reading rules apply. You know, this time is hardly absolute. With a lunar eclipse, they say it can last up to 3 months, sometimes a month before and 2 months afterwards. With a solar eclipse, which of course we're having in 2 weeks, then that can be more of a 6-month cycle. So, you know, take that under advisement as you're listening to the reading. It's a full moon gods at play reading, obviously, because that's what I do for the full moon. So by their very nature, they are dramatic. That's the whole design of the reading. I'll discuss that more when I bring the cards up. But first, I just want to spend a moment looking at the symbols of the degrees where this full moon is taking place. So it's occurring at 9:29 a.m. GMT. So amend that time for your time difference from GMT, for your time zone, sorry, I should say. At 8 degrees 37 minutes of Gemini. So in terms of the symbol, that is the 9th degree of Gemini. So if we look at the inside degrees, for the actual moon itself, we have wildflowers growing around the ruins of a temple. Now the interpretation of this is really nice. Catching a second wind, taking a booster rocket from one cycle to another, one lifetime to another, or one whole stage in evolution to another. Now that sounds great, phenomenal. And we could certainly use that with everything that's been going on. So, shot out of a cannon to discover the next great thing. You are wildly attentive to signs and portents, looking for a way to the future. Well, you're watching this, aren't you? So, coming out of immense soul experience with flying colours leaping forth into the new. Enthusiastic, naive and impressionable, eager for 1,000 universes to come true. Now, there's a really interesting point. We have Neptune stationing during this full moon. So at the same time, it is squaring the nodes. So the power of the future is causing a tension with your dreams. So you may be forced closer towards the truth, you know, an objective truth, whatever that is, or even further into your dreams, where really you want to try to balance reality in your dreams. The whole idea of a square is that you find a creative solution using both aspects of that, both ends, like using Neptune and the North Node, using how you're setting your future with your dreams. Anyway, to continue the symbol, enthusiastic, naive and impressionable. I already said that, didn't I? You feel the ultimate springtime quality of fresh immediacy and wind-blown alacrity, just sensing all through body and soul, the possibilities, the openings, what wants to happen next. A destiny bearer, universal in spirit and in the right place at the right time for the remarkable synchronicities and huge turnarounds. That offers a lot of hope. But then again, it could, with it being the eclipse, this is the That's the image of the degree that is being obscured, where the moon is going into this degree and then all light from the moon disappears. So that's the ideal use of this degree. But there's a double edge to that, that unless you're really making the effort, you won't get to use the power of that degree, because the moon obviously is eclipsed. But the good news is it's only a partial eclipse, so you do still get some light from the moon, so you do still get some of the energy from this degree. But what was interesting is the opposing degree, 8 degrees Sagittarius. I'll come back when I can learn to speak. Where the sun is shining and is casting its light, the light that is partially obscured by the shadow of the earth when it hits the moon. So we have, for inside degrees, a man with green skin. He is dressed with leaves. Playful, exuberant, spontaneous and elusive, you are restless under constraint, with all of civilization representing constraint. You're desperate to be free. When not held down, you have spectacular abilities and affinities, but when bound by time, you become abrasive and provoking. Temperamental in extreme ways, aching for free movement in a vast territory, drawn to every extreme that exists. Here we see again that power of Neptune being stationary. It actually turns stationary on the, well, becomes stationary, I should say, on the day of the full moon. The body and soul of one who can never be identified, tamed or narrowed. You are the one who knows how deep the earth is, surging with volatile currents, and these bear all hope and promise if they are followed with open arms. The one who shows everybody what life is like when it lets itself go and contagiously ripples, with permission and encouragement for each and all to come out and play and explore the far edges, and even perhaps over those edges into the greater wilderness, claiming the allegiance of those whose wildness is no passing whim, but the only viable way. So again, we've got that double edge. We've got that power of Neptune going on. Are you going to dive deeper into your echo chamber? Are you going to dream a better future? Are you going to be able to look at reality and make those dreams into reality and not just think that you're in those dreams? You know, there's all sorts of different levels here. This is very much a decision time. It's a preparatory time. We are coming up to the Great Conjunction, which, as I saw in one video going, well, it's only every 20 years, but it's part of a far larger cycle. The Saturn-Jupiter conjunction is the first time it's occurring in an air sign, and now for the next 200 years or so, it will be occurring in air signs. So we've got what's called a mutation, a great shift into air, a great shift into being more intellectual, more informed, and possibly a little less emotional, for good or for ill. You know, there's no one's going to say that there is anything wrong with emotions. They have their place. They are vital to how we function. But in the meantime, this is a house clearing time to sort out, hang on a minute, what am I wanting to achieve here, and what do I no longer need to achieve it? And that's definitely an empowered negative statement. What do I need to dispose of in order to achieve what I'm wanting to achieve? Now, this degree is ruled by, if I remember correctly, it's ruled by Rochelle, who is an angel all about restitution and finding lost objects. So again, there's the lost objects, not as the things that you're getting rid of, but the things that you are making space for. Now, opposing this, Yehuya, who I did not actually just draw the meaning up for. Let's see, Yehuya, where we got? So, Yehuya, now here's a good one. Revealing the dark side or subordination to higher order. Now, again, there's two ways. Considering we had that image all about rebellion and trying to find freedom, there's two ways you can see that higher order. Are we talking about a mundane higher order, a higher order that is existing here on the planet, or are we talking more to a more esoteric, spiritual submission to the higher order of the divine? And again, that choice is slowly being presented to us by each individual piece being brought up to our attention, each individual piece of our dreams, piece of our belief systems, piece of our day-to-day life, day-to-day practice being brought up to go, you know, do I really need this? And either answer is okay, but you have to ask the question. So either answer is like, no, I don't need this anymore. Its time has passed. That's fine. Or yes, this is essential for what I want to accomplish. This is essential for me being whom I want to be. And it will enable us to love our own process more, if that makes sense. And the reason I say that is ruling the decan that this eclipse is occurring in on the moon side is the goetic spirit Ammon. Certainly in the day it is Ammon, and at night it is Sabnok. So here for the northern hemisphere, well, if it's daytime and Ammon is ruling it wherever it is, and if it's nighttime it's Sabnok. So looking at Ammon is a goetic spirit who can be very much about love. Can be used or can be appealed to in love magic that gives aid in divination. So Ammon's energies can certainly help us try and see the future with a little bit more clarity. And this is interesting. Ammon gives aid in divination and helps the sorcerer get in touch with her true will. So it's not just my vision for the future, my dream for the future under all that Neptunian influence. It's going, hang on a minute, this dream I've got of the future, is this what I really want? Is it one of these, I think someone called them on a video I was watching recently, false beliefs? You know, because you get brought up to be told that you need to be a doctor or a lawyer, and if you're not those, then you're not good enough. Or that everybody needs the house and 2.5 kids and the car. Or, you know, all of these beliefs that are what society or family or whoever or the TV tells you that you want, when actually is, no, I want to ride on horseback on a ranch in the middle of nowhere. I want to spend my life hosting a YouTube channel. I want to spend my life living in the forest and caring for the forest. Or I really want to get involved in social work, tapestry, you know, knitting, you know, whatever it is that really floats your boat. You have to be able to say, yeah, hang on a minute, that floats your boat. I've been fighting for the past 10 years to save enough money to put a mortgage down on this house, and I don't even want to be a homeowner. I want to be free. I want to do what free people do. You know, there's really diving down to go, okay, I want the house and the car, or I don't want the house and the car. I want happiness. I want success in business. I want success in love. I want to make my friends' lives better, my clients' lives better. I want to paint things. You know, whatever it is that you want, just learning to be honest about what it is that you want and then going for it. Now, Sabnok, what have I got on Sabnok? Not a lot of information. Now, he builds high towers and castles and cities on the astral plane. So he's all about constructing. If you know anything about creative visualization, which is often covered under nowadays under like law of attraction. You visualize a situation, a condition, whatever it is that you're wanting to bring into being, and you visualize it so hard, is that the way to say it, that you are believing yourself in it and you are knowing that it is already real. That is building a castle on the astral plane, which is exactly what Sabnok is doing. So Amon is helping you identify what you want to build, or if the eclipse is happening during nighttime for you, Sabnok is helping you build the vision of it and therefore be calling that into your future. Assuming, of course, you're taking the advantage to, well, to clear out the stuff that you do not need. Now, there was another thing that I wanted to go back to, the 8 degrees Gemini symbols. Yes, the 8 degrees Gemini symbol for the the Omega symbol, a ruby growing in a laboratory, however you say it. So even though fake, but not fake, it's still a ruby. It's beautiful, it's crystalline, and I personally love red. I mean, I wear a lot of garnet. Ruby is actually, I prefer garnet to ruby, but ruby has such a depth and motion to it with that red color, with that red vibration of moving forward with things. But this is not so much about moving forward, this lunar eclipse. This is about preparing to move forward and knowing which way forward is. There's not much more that I want to say. Obviously, if this has been useful for you, like, share and subscribe. I'm sure I'll say that at the end of the reading as well. But also, now you can breathe a sigh of relief and press the timestamp thing, get to the readings. I'll bring the cards up for you. So Aquarius, if you have seen these readings before, then you're aware that this top row represents the masks of the Archons. How the Archons are trying to, or what forms the Archons are taking to deceive you, to keep you separate from your divine purpose, divine self, communion with God, your destiny, etc., etc. The bottom row represents the gods themselves trying to lift you up, to connect you with your divine self, purpose, God, etc. So working to suppress you here. So remember, this is not the gods. These are the Archons pretending to be the gods. We have Ra with power, Athene with wisdom, Sekhmet with reduction, Nuba with denial, and Chiron with woundedness. Working in your benefit, we have Osiris with renewal, Zeus with divine expansion, the Muses with inspiration, Pythia with knowledge, and Laertes with faithfulness. So the story that I'm seeing, well, as ever with these readings, two stories that I see. One on the Archontic row, one on the God row. The Archontic row, it seems to be focused on leaders. Ra is a sun god, and the sun represents the leaders. So it's almost like the leaders are trying to define what they call is wise and ignoring a problem, ignoring quite possibly some form of woundedness, or creating some form of woundedness to then ignore it, as an excuse to reduce things, make things more sparse, to reduce. Don't want this to sound too political, but this is a very political full moon eclipse. But having said that, this could be stuff that works on a personal level. But there's someone in a leadership role, because so far when the sun has appeared on this top row in this month's readings, it's always been Helios. Not even Apollo's got a look in. And there's that sense of the old guard with Ra, with Helios, the older leaders. So that could represent the patriarchs within the family, grandparents, maybe not your grandparents, but they are grandparents, you know, or even great-grandparents, that they are seniors within the family, and they are, or seniors within the company, or seniors within the political scheme, and they're saying, yeah, you need to tighten your belt. It's not time to do anything rash. But doing something that they consider rash is exactly what you're thinking. Because with the muses here, with inspiration, I joked earlier when they appeared in the top row that they're lined up here as if they're, you know, filling in for Destiny's Child. But it's almost like they are urging you to look at a wider field of options, and that you are to bring into being something that, okay, with Osiris and renewal and Laertes and faithfulness, I'm thinking that you are being called to bring into being something that has been here before. You are being called to bring into being something that you actually know about, you know the ins and outs of, but you are being called to apply that to a wider field than what you have done before. How interesting. Hakamia. Out of the Oracle in Heaven and Hell, we have Hakamia, we have Umabel, and we have Damabia angels. So Hakamia represents astrologically loyalty, which really links with this Laertes. But what I'm feeling is that that is loyalty to an ideal, loyalty to a goal, loyalty to a process. Loyalty, it's not necessarily to a person, and if it is, it's certainly not this old leader. It is loyalty to, like, I'm going to start this business because I have faith that it will succeed. And this may be something that you've done before. I'm not saying that you've done the business before, because let's face it, if it was successful, you'd probably still be doing it. But say you've worked in a jeweller's and you are now going to open a jeweller's shop, or you have worked in social care and you're now going to run a social care project, you know, all that sort of thing. Of you've done it before in a different context, because it is a new context, it is an inspired one, and it is larger than what has come before, but you have the knowledge to do this. So you have to apply this knowledge to make the solution to a problem bigger, while some form of leader, in inverted commas, around you, some form of leader who is not really paying attention to, you know, there's something they're just refusing to accept and encouraging you to refuse to accept. You know, the strength of this Nubia card here, it's like a, at the risk of getting political, as in partisan political, because I do not believe this is a partisan political issue and it should never be, but it's like a climate change denier, you know, where they're actually going la la la, not listening, not looking at the data, not listening, ignoring the fires, ignoring the storms. No, it's not happening, not happening. There's still debate about it, you know. No, only by you, you know. So that's the strength of denial that I'm feeling from Nuba's card here. And whether that's because they're operating from a wounded place, or that they are not accepting a wound that they have caused, that may or may not be theirs, is irrelevant. But you are being called to breathe new life into whatever this situation is. So yes, what is seen as the wise course of action by the more establishment viewpoint in this. You know, like I say, it could be personal level, could be societal level, what have you. But it's we've got to do something that hurts. It's the only solution. And you're there going, no, there's another thing that we can try. We don't need to all chop off our right arms. We could actually try something that might work. If later we then have to chop off our right arms, oh well, but let's give it a go. And I think you're going to have resistance on this. Yes, there's, I feel that those who, the magician again on the top row. There's trickery afoot. This magician card has been appearing on the, whenever it's appeared on the top row in this month's readings. And the fact that it's confirming the denial, whoever's doing the denying is either lying or has been fooled by yet another party. You know, there is trickery afoot there, and that is something that you cannot afford. Well, not if you're wanting to, you know, ascend, commune with God, or, you know, have a happy, bright future. That is not something that you can afford to buy into. So whatever it is that they're selling, whether they are lying or whether they have been lied to and they are acting upon it, doesn't matter. You know, you can't buy into that. Ooh, and with the Chiron card, we have the Death card. So that really reinforces the idea of denial of any wounds that have been caused, denial of any wounds that may be possessed, and also like trying to just kill the issue. But let's see what the gods themselves have got to offer you here. So, ooh, now, if you are remaining loyal, Devil card here. So I'll, where do I put these? I will clarify that in a moment. But I rather feel that the Devil card is clarifying Laertes with his faithfulness, that's staying true to the idea, and that is giving me that concept of the Capricorn energy of the having a good structure around it, because it's also the way I've ended up pointing it is it's pointing to the structure on the Pythia card, which is sort of intentional because I put them like that, but that was not, you know, it's the way it's landed. And she is clarified by the Six of Wands. So a little bit of wisdom, a little bit of this new method, this new applying an old method in a more expanded way. This brings about transformation. It brings about abundance on this bottom row. So we've got 3 major arcana and angel number 66, 6 of Pentacles, something with value, 6 of Wands, victory, you know. So but victory through transformation, victory through applying your solution, which is resisted, applying your solution into a larger field than what it has been applied before, if that makes sense. Now also Umabel. Now she represents, or he represents, sorry, affinity and friendship. However, Umabel is the degree angel of where Neptune is sitting. So this is telling me that it's stuff the naysayers, that dream that you've always said you was going to do, go and do it. But go and do it on a far bigger scale than what you actually were considering beforehand. Because doing it on that bigger scale is the only way it will work. And that's everything. That's everything that I see. We have the angel energy over the reading, the Archangel Uriel. Again, there's that sense of loyalty. Divine light shines from within. I am eternally radiant, loving and wise. It's telling you to have confidence in yourself here. The only thing I'm wondering of, Damabia represents a fountain of wisdom, but the card came out the other way up, which it shouldn't do because there shouldn't be any reverse cards. It was Andrialphus, who is the Goetic spirit, who represents an unhappy voyage. Now, as I said, there were sixes. There's no Six of Swords here. We're defining value and achieving victory. So this is something that is applying to the homestead, and also is something that you don't need to travel for. I think that's a really important point with Andrialphus here with that unhappy voyage. It is, you do not need to travel for it. With Fountain of Wisdom and with the Pythia representing knowledge, you already have everything that you need to get this done. So you don't need to go anywhere. You just need to do the idea where you are. But you do the idea where you are over a far larger scale than what you had initially dreamt of doing. That's really nice. That is really nice. It looks like you're serving quite the important function here, Aquarius. So, yeah. Have the courage of your convictions. Have the courage of... your passions, your skills, your knowledge, because you know this stuff. Well, I mean, of course, as it says on my card that I put to remind me what reading I'm doing, Aquarius, I know. And that is, I've teased Aquarius before about your knowingness, but your glyph is waves, you know, vibration, through which information is always transmitted through vibration. So, yeah, I will tongue-in-cheek take the mick. But knowing is your strength. Use it. So if this means anything to you, Aquarius, I nearly said Capricorn there. If it means anything to you, Aquarius, please do comment down below, because it's always good to hear that it means something to somebody, and I'm not just talking to a camera. In the meantime, obviously, like, share, subscribe. It's a YouTube channel. Please do all that good stuff. In the meantime, there will be more readings coming out soon. Cheers. Now go and watch your rising sign and your moon sign. I forgot to say that on any of the other videos. But yeah, go and watch your rising and your moon sign now. Cheers.